All right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the Wednesday, August 17th, 2022 Miami Valley Communications Council Board meeting to order. With you all rise and please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Yes, sir. Brian Wolfsig.
Here.
George Bayless.
Here.
Lisa DeVault.
Here.
Bob Scott.
Here.
Michelle Colvin.
Here.
Greg Thompson.
Here.
Don Burchett.
Here.
Rob Stevens.
Here.
Stephen Hardy.
Present.
Can I get approval of the May 18th, 2022 board meeting minutes?
I'm making a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, on to legislation. First one is Resolution 2022-008, making miscellaneous supplemental appropriations for the year 2022.
Just real briefly, Mr. Chairman, we budgeted $7,500 for ongoing maintenance and repairs. We have exceeded that amount between our two vans, the larger vehicle we use to do football games and off-site events, and also because we got the armored rescue vehicle a little earlier than we had anticipated. So what we're recommending is to transfer $10,000 from the general fund into that line item.
I move approval.
Excellent.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution 2022-009, creating and implementing electric and natural gas aggregation programs.
I'll try to do this briefly.
Okay.
When we met in May, I'm not sure that aggregation was on anybody's radar at that time. However, first part of June, the AES increase on electrical rates went into effect, and that coincided with the City of Dayton beginning an electric aggregation program. And as a result of that, their residents are saving about 3.5 cents per kilowatt hour on their AES rates. So understandably, as a result of that and all the attention it got in the news media, I think a lot of city councils started to get feedback from not only their staff probably, but from citizens asking, do you have an aggregation program? Are you hoping to start one? Why don't we have one? The City of Dayton has one. So that got everyone talking. I think most of the councils represented in this room have had discussions about electric and/or gas aggregation over the past couple of months. As we've started to do our due diligence on this topic, we interviewed a couple of firms who do a lot of aggregation work in the state of Ohio. A number of other cities in this area are also talking about aggregation. Most of the communities in this room had aggregation approved by their electorate back in the early 2000s. There are some communities that have already passed the legislation necessary to get it on this November ballot. So between those communities who have already had it approved by their electorate and those communities that are looking to get it approved this November, there are probably 10 to 15 communities in the area that are seriously looking at both electric and or gas aggregation. It just makes all the sense in the world to have this under an umbrella organization rather than communities trying to do this on their own. So everybody, I think, looked to MVCC as being that umbrella organization. We're happy to do it. That's what we should be doing as a council of governments. And this is just consistent with our charge to do things collaboratively on issues that are mutually beneficial to our communities. So over the last couple of months, we've done some interviewing. We made some recommendations to the board in terms of what this might look like going forward. This would be an opportunity for MVCC to collect an administrative fee to kind of oversee some of the details associated with this program and to get it up and going. One of the things we looked at was Palmer Energy. Palmer Energy is a Toledo-based energy firm. They also have an office in Columbus, and they also have an affiliation with the Ohio Municipal League, which is something we felt was very important. So that was part of the recommendation that was made by the city managers in terms of moving forward on this. This process takes a while to go into effect. There's a regulatory approval that you need to get. Then each city council would have to pass some legislation. So if this is something you decide to approve today, I would say over the next 2 to 3 months, we will be about the business of getting all those details taken care of. We'll also be about the business of trying to get as many cities involved in this endeavor as we can. The hope is that we have everything in place by the end of the year, and depending on what the energy markets look like, hopefully sometime maybe during the latter part of the first quarter of 2023, we'll be able to go to the energy markets with an RFP and take competitive quotes. If we get good quotes at that time and enter into an agreement, then hopefully we would be able to offer this to all of our member communities probably sometime early in the second quarter of 2023. Ideally, we would like to put together an opt-out program, meaning that all of your residents are enrolled unless they choose to opt out of the program. The other option is to opt in, which means that you have to opt into the program in order to get involved. Obviously, the participation rate in the opt-out program is much higher, so that's why it's advantageous when you're trying to get a larger group together. But I think what we're going to try to do is look at both having an opt-out and an opt-in option for communities who may feel that the opt-in program works better for them. The second thing is there's no political pressure or anything for anybody to join this program. I know there are some communities that have made a decision at this point not to be involved in aggregation, which is fine. I mean, every community is different. But hopefully, at some point down the line, if a community decides it wants to join the program, they'll have an opportunity to do so. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of going in and out of the program should communities decide to do so. So that's kind of my Reader's Digest version of the legislation that is before you. I'll try and answer any questions that anybody might have about aggregation.
Excellent. Thank you, Jay. Yes, George?
I would guess that the city managers, through their organizations, have really approved this.
Yes, they have
The
thoroughly.
whole idea.
Yes, George, they have thoroughly vetted this, and they're making the recommendation that we go ahead with this proposed legislation.
Okay.
George, for your benefit, Mark's been keeping us abreast, and we just had a discussion on our last council meeting.
Okay.
And I think Kettering's going to drive for you're in unless you want to opt out. And the figure we were told was it's just a fraction of the people, if the city signs up for it, a fraction of residents decide to opt out. Because, as a citizen, I don't see much downside if Kettering decides to go that route.
What we've been told, Mr. Scott, is on opt-out programs, usually the participation rate is around 85 or 90%. Opt-in, it's around 20 or 25%, so there's certainly a significant difference.
And I would expect, regardless of the community you're in, I think the residents are looking to the council. If you're not doing that, why aren't you? To save us money, right?
Right.
Because I've had quite a few calls from residents asking me months ago, what's the city doing about it?
Right.
Jay,
somebody already has a contract that extends beyond when this would become part of the city's resolution, do they have to go back and try to get out of their contract to join this?
You know,
What
that's
happens
something
there?
I think they would have to discuss with their carrier, but they would certainly be eligible whenever they want to join our program, Joanne. So if their community is offering the program, they would be eligible to join then.
Okay, they're not eligible to opt in without going through their carrier.
Correct. Like I say, I
Yeah,
think
how
they
we do
need to, whatever the legalities might be of the contract that they signed at the time.
I may have missed this, but is this open to other cities or just the 8 cities at MVCC?
And I'm sorry, Greg, I didn't touch upon that. The managers felt very strongly that this should be kind of closed to MVCC members and affiliate communities. So there's another 23 affiliate members. And as I've fielded some phone calls, people say, well, right now we're not an affiliate member. I said, well, you can very easily become an affiliate member. That is no problem with us, and it's very inexpensive for them to do that. So I think another benefit from this will be, Greg, we'll probably have more affiliate members join as well. So that won't be anything that precludes folks from joining.
Excellent, good questions. Can I get a motion for this resolution?
So
I move approval.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you very much. Okay. And our final resolution is a special recognition of someone that we are very honored to know and sorry to see leave. So if you bear with me, I'd like to read this resolution. This Miami Valley Communications Council, Resolution 2022-010, to express appreciation to Greg Thompson for his years of service to the Miami Valley Communications Council Board. Whereas Greg was first elected to Miamisburg City Council in 2012 and has served continuously since that time, including a 2-year term as vice mayor. And whereas Greg was appointed to the Miami Valley Communication Council in 2012 and has served with honor and distinction for more than 10 years. And whereas Greg served as vice chair of the board in 2019 and 2020, and in that capacity was a member of the executive committee. And whereas during his term on the board, MVCC was a collaborative partner as the cities of Centerville, Kettering, and Oakwood applied for and received a $100,000 grant from the State of Ohio's Local Government Innovation Fund for a feasibility study for the establishment of a shared community fiber network. MVCC joined and became the administrator of the newly created Montgomery County Regional Radio, COG. The board authorized the construction of a shared fiber network to connect 7 of the 8 MVCC member communities. The board stabilized the MVCC budget by eliminating the long-standing practice of rebating 20% of franchise fee revenue to the member communities. The board authorized an agreement for a fiber-to-home build in 6 of the member communities, and approved the purchase of a consequential armored rescue vehicle for use by the Tactical Crime Suppression Unit. And whereas Greg has been a consistent source of sound advice, advocacy, and support for the mission and goals of MVCC. And whereas Greg and his family are moving to a non-MVCC jurisdiction, thus bringing the closure of his tenure to the MVCC board. Now therefore be it resolved by the members of the MVCC that the Miami Valley Communications Council Board accords its thanks and sincere appreciation to Greg Thompson for his 10-plus years of outstanding service as an MVCC board member. During his time on the board, Greg's involvement and active participation contributed to sound decisions on service offerings and collaborative projects that enhance the quality of life for residents of the 8-member MVCC communities. Greg fully embraced the value of working together on problems of mutual concern and strongly supported collaborative efforts among the municipalities of the region. Through his resolution, the Miami Valley Communications Council Board hereby declares its thanks and sincere appreciation to Greg Thompson for his years of distinguished service.
I didn't need 2 pages of thank you, but I really do appreciate
There's
it.
actually 7.
That was the abridged
I
version.
cut it down to 2. Yes. Well done, well written by Jay and his staff, very well deserved. Obviously, a sad day for Miamisburg Council, for MVCC. Greg's not just a good member and but he's a good man. So we wish you the best and hope everything goes well south of town where you're moving, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank
So-
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just listening to all the things that have been accomplished in the last 10 years, I don't take credit for any of those. I just, because of MVCC, but it's been interesting to see just the changes. When I came on, it was still franchise fees, and we kind of went through the whole cut the cord, people moving from the Time Warner and Spectrum to YouTube TV and wireless, and how do we charge for cable versus internet, and now moving to the fiber ring has been pretty interesting and exciting. So there's been 3 different executive directors and a lot of changing around. I think George, Brian, and Rob are the 3 that had more seniority in the group. But it's great to work with other communities. MVCC is really a perfect example of how communities can come together and do well for the citizens. And the other thing I wanted to say is say thank you to Jay as the leader, keeps the ship afloat and does a great job. So thank you. And also to the staff. I know there's a few in the room here, but there's a whole building full of people that you guys really do a great job, and you make our jobs easy. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Besides Greg, can we get a motion to pass this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
There it is. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thanks.
Passed. Thank you very much.
Can't worry, moving, become an affiliate. I mean,
Well, he could work on that. Yeah.
Sure can.
Okay. New business. Do we have a financial from Sheila? There she is.
You have a copy of the financial statement. Everything is pretty much on target with our budget. Our big focus right now is working on next year's budget and wrapping up projections for this year. Other than that, it's been quiet. We've had our hands full with that. That's plenty. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Jay, Executive Director's Report.
All right, well, today I have about 5 or 6 items, but I'll try to go through them rather quickly here. I guess, Greg, again, just wanted to thank you. When I came on board here as Executive Director back in 2019, you were Vice Chair, and you were very welcoming, and I appreciate all your advice and wise counsel. I know all of you spend many, many hours every month in your job duties as council members, and I don't think the public really has any idea the amount of time that you spend. Now, in addition to your council duties, you also serve on other boards and committees, and all of you are appointed by your councils to serve on this board. So we're very, very fortunate here that we've got very dedicated elected officials who are willing to put that time. And Greg, certainly you fall into that category, and we're very much going to miss you. So thanks again for all your service, all your support. I know we all wish you and your family all the best in your future endeavors. So thanks. I'll give you a fiber to the home build update, which is only about 3 hours old. The public works directors and engineers meet about 6 times a year and just talk about things that are going on in the public works and engineering department. Coincidentally, they had a meeting today at noon, and we had the folks from Point Broadband come to give an update on the fiber to the home project. And I'm pleased to report that they are scheduled to get underway in Kettering and Centerville within about the next 60 days or so. And what their plan is this. They set these cabinets around the community, and they can run around 500 to 550 homes on these cabinets. So that's how they do the build. They do it about 500 or 550 homes at a time. Once that area is fully built and connected, then they turn a switch on and that area is lit. So the whole community doesn't go on board at one time. It goes on in individual neighborhoods. So their plan is to have 2 crews get started in Kettering, 2 crews to get started in Centerville, like I say, probably sometime in October, early part of November. Weather permitting, they will work through the winter months. So that is good news. For the other 4 communities, it'll probably be the latter part of next year until that build starts. But they've got 3 years to do this. It's not going to happen overnight. It has to happen incrementally, but I'm just pleased to report that they are getting started here in the very near future. We will certainly have information and press releases as we get a little closer to the start time, so we can let people know when it's going to happen. People in the neighborhoods will know when the work is going to be taking place because there'll be signs up and other things, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone in the neighborhood when those crews move in. So that's a positive turn.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Do we have any idea how many people haven't got access right now to internet? I mean, you know, the people on my street all have access to it if they want to.
I think in our communities, George, we've got a very, very high penetration rate. I think more so rural communities and maybe some of the rural areas in our member communities, but all in all, I think the concentration in our communities is pretty heavy. The only thing I would say is this is just going to be another opportunity for people to have another provider that maybe offers them faster service at a cheaper rate than maybe what they have available now.
Okay.
The best connection you can get is fiber to the home, and that means the fiber runs directly into your home. Because the further you get away from a source, the more chance you have problems. So in an ideal world, fiber to the home is really what you want to have if you have that option.
Yeah, which is what I have.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, real estate agents sometimes say that may be worth 2 to 3% on the value of your home at the time of sale. So it's obviously a significant thing as more and more people work from their homes. Another project that we've been working on, but I haven't really talked about in a while, is the Troutwood Project. We are trying to get some federal funding for that project because not only do we want to extend the Gateway Fiber Network, but we also want to include a fiber to the home component to that as well. So in doing that, that's about a $27 million endeavor. About $24 million of that relates to the fiber to the home. There's a broadband office in Columbus that disperses both state and federal funding. We have been in their ear for the last 6 to 8 months. They are very much aware of our project. They're supportive of it. Troutwood meets a lot of the demographics that they're looking for, and as George was saying, it's a community that doesn't have some of the same penetration levels as other communities. So we're confident that hopefully during this next funding cycle we will be funded. That will happen right after the first of the year, so we will be applying either at the end of this year or the first part of next year. And on that application will be MVCC, Independence Fiber Network, Miami Valley Educational Computer Association, and the City of Troutwood. So there are a lot of different players in this, and as I said, hopefully we'll have a good shot at securing those funds. That would be something very positive, not only for the MVCC, but certainly for the City of Troutwood as well. So I will keep you posted as additional information becomes available on that. So at our last meeting, we were talking about Horizon, and we approved legislation that would allow us to sell the conduit to Horizon. So as we got more into the discussion, all of a sudden we said, we may only want to buy fiber as opposed to your conduit, or we might want to buy both. So we went back and forth over the past several months, and just recently they finally said, what we want to do is buy fiber. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to buy 12 strands of fiber. The total purchase price is just a little bit south of $1. And of that amount, MVC receives about 30%, with the other 70% going to the Independence Fiber Network, because they do all the marketing on that side of the equation. So they get 70%, we get 30%. So for us, that's going to equate to about $225,000. Now, the good news is we have somebody else interested in the conduit, so we're going to be engaging in negotiations for the conduit as well. So hopefully I will be coming back to you with another firm that's interested in purchasing the conduit. So we are getting rid of 12 strands of fiber, meaning we still have around 72 or thereabouts fibers remaining for sale or lease. So we've still got plenty of assets that we can market, and that's a good thing. So this is the first money that we're seeing coming back to us as part of the initial $1.1 million investment. So that's all good news as well. And for the folks in Kettering, I would tell you that most of those 12 fibers that Horizon is purchasing is going to be used for connections to the Kettering Health Network. So that's good news as well. Just on aggregation, I appreciate you passing the resolution. That'll give me something to do over the next several months to keep me occupied, so to speak. But it's just another example of how communities benefit from working together, from collaborating on issues of mutual benefit and concern. It's just amazing how the communities have all gotten together as aggregation has kind of taken on a life of its own, and everybody looked to MVCC to try to be that umbrella organization. So it's nice to know that people in the communities out there view us like that, and I think it's going to be something that's going to be very beneficial as we move down the road here. And then one final thing, I know today was the first day of school for a lot of school district, and that means high school football as well. So we will be televising high school football game of the week beginning this Friday and for the next 10 consecutive weeks. I believe this week's game is Miamisburg at West Carrollton. Those games are carried live on YouTube. We also do a tape, and then we run the tape 3 or 4 times the following week. So for those of you who are high school football fans, it is that time of year already. So that's something that our crews here look forward to. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Any questions? We're not putting side bets down on these football games, are we? Member communities?
That's entirely up to you
Okay.
folks.
We'll get that
I don't want to know about
Get that resolution drawn up for next month. All right, very good.
For entertainment purposes.
For entertainment purposes only, yes, exactly. Okay, any questions for Jay? Thank you for that good report, Jay, thank you. Which will segue me into my comments. I just have 2 quick ones. One, I feel like we talk about this every month, but I can't talk enough about Jay and his staff. As we all know here, which please out there trust us, that the fiber project is a huge project. And on top of that, with all of other Jay's duties and his staff and what they do to support him, now we've got this aggregation project, which is another large project that, you know, I in all my years on here, I can't remember us ever having two substantially large projects like we have now, which just shows that Jay and his staff are doing a fabulous job. So I just want to thank you again on the record for doing this. So thank you. And my last comment is, I don't want this to feel like pressure, but Michelle, now you have work to do to replace Greg and send us somebody over, okay? And I don't want to be asking every month is all I'm saying. We need
We have to replace them here and on council.
and on council, yeah.
Yeah.
Replace council first, and then
Yeah.
you can send them over to us, yes.
There's a
Yes.
little bit, there's a timeline on that. so,
I know
yeah.
there is. I'm just,
Greg is kind of irreplaceable, though.
that's kind of my point. That's kind of the pressure comment. I don't know how you're gonna, find
The bar is
somebody as
high,
good.
is
The
all I
bar
can
is
say.
set high, so. So my final comment, Greg, I wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. Any board comments? Community updates? Anything anybody would like to talk about?
Well, it's holiday at home time, shortly.
Shortly. Holiday at
Yeah.
home.
At the end of the month, Labor Day weekend.
Can I assume festivities can be seen on your website as far as schedule for all that? Is that on the Kettering
As
website?
far as I know.
As far as yeah.
Yeah, they've been there the last few years.
Sure. So, okay. So the Kettering City of Kettering website should have all those information because obviously, holiday at home isn't just for Kettering citizens. A lot of people from outside Kettering hit that. It's such a big
Yeah.
event. So excellent. Anything else?
Myamisburg has River Blast celebration over the Labor Day weekend. We have fireworks and music all day in the park and vendors, and so it'll be a fun day.
Is it a one-day event or
Saturday.
Oh, just all day Saturday.
Mhm,
Okay.
yep.
River Blast in Myamisburg all day Saturday of Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Anything else? No? Okay. All right. Well, then we will adjourn. Our next board meeting will be September 21st. Please be safe out there and continue to work hard. Thank you very much for attending.